Alright, so I brought Steph back for this video because it's Disney related. It's related to that stupid, fucking god-awful Cinderella remake, which you really didn't need, by the way, because there already is a Cinderella remake in 2015. But I think it's safe to say that they're remaking it again for SJWs because the 2015 version didn't really match SJWs because the movie was actually good. So I think they're remaking it only 5 years later because they're trying to make sure that it's SJW-ified. So Steph is going to read this article about this god-awful piece of crap. And I'm going to drink some coronavirus while she does that.
Very cancerous line, starting with magic has no gender. I mean, it is a cancerous line, but I kind of understand it.
Why?
Because magicians are men, and Disney is for all genders.
There are many female magicians, but...
Yes, but they're mostly assistants.
But the problem here is that it's not just about magic having no gender, it's about just ruining the characters.
Yeah, I know.
So, what else?
It hit me when I was on the set last week how profound it is that I am playing the fairy godmother. They call it the Fab G.
Very interesting
Oh,
how stupid this is because he acknowledges that he's playing a godmother. I think we're forgetting what the word mother means, but then again, it's 2020, so who cares, apparently.
That's right, folks. Billy Porter, the Emmy, Grammy, and Tony Award-winning actor who probably paid for all those titles.
By the way, just to point out, he's an actor. Actor is male, actress is female.
Yeah, well, he probably paid for all those titles anyways.
He claims to be genderless, but then they call him an actor. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, well, he also probably paid for all those titles, but anyways. We'll be portraying the iconic fairy godmother in the live-action 2021 Sony film, Sony Needs to Die. Classic Cinderella.
Mm-hmm. So Sony's making it for Disney, but Disney actually said yes to this fucking shit. Because, and Steph likes Disney, but she's gonna have to one day admit that Disney does pander just as much as any other company. That's why
I know they do.
That's why they've ruined all their franchises. That's why they've made SJW into literally everything. I mean, they haven't ruined all the remakes. They've ruined them. They're terrible. But they haven't ruined them with SJW-ness yet as much. The fuck? Because, like, for example, Aladdin was bad, but there wasn't any SJW stuff in there. The only thing was Jasmine singing Speechless, which was actually a good song, but it was just to say I'm a feminist, independent woman and I'm strong, whatever. So it was stupid for being there, but it wasn't a bad song. Lion King didn't SJW. Beauty and the Beast didn't, but Emma Watson is a feminist, so fuck her. So they didn't necessarily SJW-ify them, but they are just bad. However, Star Wars they did, and many other movies as well. So what else? Porter is taking on this role as he continues to make an effort to change and challenge the perspectives of gender norms. Because apparently just being who we are is wrong. It's bad to just, be what we were biologically meant to be. And we have to change everything. Mm-hmm. He also confirmed that he will, in fact, play this character as genderless. So, they're going to play him he's going to play it as genderless, but it's a godmother.
It's actually a Fab G.
It's a godmother. They're still, I don't understand what their thought process here. They're calling it a godmother.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They call it the Fab G.
Yeah, but it's still going to be a godmother. It says iconic, a genderless godmother.
Yeah,
That's what they're calling it. He also confirms that he will, in fact, play this character as genderless. So, what are you going to look like? But whatever. Continue reading.
In fact, Porter stated that by playing the role of the fairy godmother as genderless is powerful.
Okay, what's so powerful about it?
I don't fucking know.
What the fuck is powerful about this? Yeah. Well, not even, because I don't understand Hollywood and all these businesses, to be honest, because they do all this pandering. A great example is, Gillette. Remember when Gillette made that fucking anti-man ad for a male company?
Yeah.
And you would think that a company wants money, but Gillette lost $1 billion from that ad, and they were asked if they regret it, and they said no.
Idiots.
So, let me get this straight. First, they make an ad that only satisfies 18% of the population, because 81% of people have been proven to be against SJWs. So, first of all, the ad itself, even if it made money, only satisfied 18% of the population. But then they lose money from it and don't care. So it's like, I don't understand companies' priorities anymore. They don't have priorities. Money and sales don't matter, I guess, as long as they can politically pander and satisfy the mainstream media. That's all they care about. It is going to be a classic fairy tale for a new generation.
Oh boy.
Well, you couldn't have said that any better. It is most certainly meant for a new generation, because the old generation of people who have brains, common sense, logic, and enjoy reality, that's old. That's old. So yes, I do agree that this is for a new generation.
This is a classic. No, it's not. This is a classic for a new generation. Oh, God help us all, Porter stated. I think that the new generation is really ready.
That's an understatement.
The kids are ready. It's the
Before you read the next line. Yeah, they most certainly are fucking ready, because they created the SJW movement. Yeah, you're ready, all right. Like, again, like, this is not a good thing. And this next line is the best one.
Yeah. It's the grown-ups that are slowing stuff down. Wow.
That's my favorite line, because in what way is the SJW culture speeding things up? In what way are they making progress? I mean, other than the fact that we call them progressives, which is a fucking self-defeating term, by the way, but aside from the fact that we call them that, they're not actually making progress. They're not moving forward. Granted, you're not moving backwards either, because, like, moving backwards means that this stuff existed in the past, and we're going back to it. But this stuff never existed in the past at all. And it shouldn't exist in the future, or the present. But we're not moving backwards. We're basically what we are. Okay, we're not moving forward because we're not making sense anymore. And we're not moving back because nobody in the past has ever said, there are 1,000 genders. So what we are is living in the present, but we're stuck here. This is purgatory. Where we are right now, where we've been since 2014 is basically just purgatory. We're stuck here. We're not alive, but we're not dead, sadly, either. We're stuck in purgatory. We are stuck in a purgatory hell where the SJW culture has taken over and they're creating all this fucking shit. It's the grown-ups that are slowing stuff down. Why? Because the grown-ups are saying things like, hey, to my non-binary children, you're an idiot, because they are. Like, I don't understand how that's slowing, how, like, staying with reality and not saying things like, I'm not falling for your bullshit, is somehow slowing things down. You wouldn't have to speed up and make these things up if you just stuck with what reality is, but God forbid.
Back in December of 2019, the actor was interviewed by E! News about the upcoming live-action Cinderella, which they, again, like Matt stated, did not need to do, because the only Cinderella that was made by Disney, officially, where her dress transforms and everything like that, not Ever After and all those other remakes, which are great, but...
Did Disney make those?
No, Disney didn't make those. There were different companies that made those. But regardless, the Disney remake of Cinderella was the only one that needed to be made. This movie does not need to be made.
The thing is, even if this movie was good, it wouldn't even need to be made, because it's only been 5 years. 5 fucking years! That's all it's been.
Yeah, I know.
This is not long enough to even make a remake, even if it was good. It's just not... They're not waiting long enough. But, like, again, like, to further explain why, because people will be asking, why do we have another remake with just 5 years? The reason why they're rushing, basically, to make the next remake is because they're trying to get it done while the SJW culture is still dominant. That's what they're doing. Like, if the SJW culture was to end, like, let's say next year, they wouldn't bother. They wouldn't fucking bother. They would immediately shut down all production. They would. They're only doing this because they felt that the 2015 version wasn't PC enough because she still goes and gets the prince. Oh, fucking God forbid. And that's not okay to them. It's not okay to the fact that the godmother was a woman. They're not okay with that, and they probably regret making it 5 years ago, to be honest. And they're like, fuck it, we gotta push it out of history. Let's make another remake, and this will now be the remake of the 1950 version. That's what they're gonna say. And I mean, if we're gonna talk about remakes that should be made because they actually are old, they haven't even bothered. They haven't even tried with Sleeping Beauty or Snow White. And again, back to PC culture, we know for a fact the reason they won't do it is because in both those movies, a sleeping woman is kissed and doesn't give consent because she's sleeping. And that would be extremely offensive today. If they did remake Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, they would most likely have the sleeping person be a man. Mm-hmm. That's what I honestly think, because at least then they can say, it's okay to kiss a sleeping man because men don't count. Men can't be raped. It doesn't matter if men give consent. That's okay.
Stating the only thing I can know is that I am calling it a Cinderella for the Me Too era.
There you go. So they admit to it.
That's all I really know.
So they're admitting to it. There you go.
It didn't take long before fans reacted to this news. There have been tweets fully supporting Porter's decision to portray the fairy godmother as genderless.
By the way, before we continue, I want to just point out, I've already mentioned this 3 times. I'm going to say it again. How funny it is that SJWs have the nerve to say, no, sex is the biological male and female, and gender is the personality traits. You know, all the personality traits thing, the 1,000 gender stuff, right? And they say, we do agree with biological male and female, but we call that sex. But yet, whenever it's written in an article like this, they always say gender. Right there, genderless. Okay, so now you're admitting that gender is male and female. Because if the male and female was sex, not gender, then wouldn't you be writing sexless in the article? I've mentioned this now 4 times, and people just don't understand this massive fucking hypocrisy. But anyway, this idiot says, I'm looking forward to this costume. Gonna be crazy. What costume? He's just wearing his pimp costume with his purple hat. I'm here for this. Oh, boy. And then we have some smart people. But what's the caption say? While others are pretty up in arms about this news and are upset to see this decision being made. Good. So glad I don't have toddlers anymore to watch this nonsense. Genderless fairy god mother in caps. Right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. So thank you. And it is fucking nonsense because, you know, we know that all this non-binary stuff is in fact abusive to kids. It's been proven to be abusive. It's been proven that the majority of people who claim to be non-binary actually grow out of it as it's a phase for most people. And most people who make early transitions, like obviously being trans is real, but a lot of studies have shown that if you make an early transition, just because of like the SJW PC culture pushing it on you, or through the PC culture saying things like gender dysphoria doesn't matter, you don't have to have that, as long as you like dresses, you're automatically a girl, so get your penis cut off. Those people actually always regret it every single time. Gender dysphoria is a real thing, but SJWs don't give a shit as long as they can make everyone trans or non-binary.
And then there are some who are just confused about the wording of fairy godmother.
Of course. What is it? Oh, here we go. What does this person say?
Wait, I'm confused. If he's playing a genderless fairy godmother, wouldn't they be called fairy godparent?
Actually, that's true. If you guys remember, I made a video a while back. I can put it in the end or something. It was a video about SJWs finding mother and father to be offensive. Mm-hmm. And they were protesting to get your parents referred to as parent 1 and parent 2.
It's like thing 1 and thing 2 from Dr. Seuss.
I actually mentioned that in the video too. And yeah, that this person is saying, well, just do that then. Say a godparent, just like how they want it to be called parent 1 and parent 2. The actor, who is known for his work in Pose, the Broadway musical Kinky Boots, and more, joins the cast alongside Camila Cabella. And you know what? There's one thing good here. One fucking thing, and I think Actually, no, I don't think that's, so never mind.
What?
I was trying to figure out why they want to SJW all this shit and make the godmother genderless or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But why Cinderella's character is still going to be played by a regular straight woman.
Yeah,
they're not
true.
they're not fucking that up at
Thank
least.
God.
I mean, and also the prince is still a straight male, by the
Hopefully.
way. Well, I saw the actor, he is.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is, I feel like they're not doing it for a good reason. I think they're doing it to kind of test the waters. I think what Disney or whatever is saying is like, let's just fuck up one character and see how people react, basically.
Yeah.
And if people react good, which they won't, because this movie, like pretty much most modern movies, will flop, obviously, and get like a 10% by the audience score and a 97% by the tomato critics, idiots. But the thing is, the movie will flop like every other fucking modern movie that tries to do this shit. But they're gonna hope it's not gonna flop, and then if it somehow doesn't, then they'll fuck up the other characters. So whatever. All right, let's just get straight into the video. This is the actor who is gonna be playing the god, whatever.
God thing.
Yes.
Tell me how you are going through your modern Billy Porter magic to this one.
Well, I just finished shooting it. You know, I'm giddy because I always say I'm playing the Whitney Houston part. I'm playing the Whitney Houston part. You know what I love about this Cinderella as a whole is that our creator Kay Cannon has really written a Cinderella for our generation, for the new generation. It's not a
I'm glad you're at least, like I said before, I'm glad you're at least admitting that it's for modern, stupid-minded people and not for normal people with regular brains that can think correctly. Because, like, if he said something like, this is for everybody, the new young people and the old people who love the original, because you're at least acknowledging that people who like the original, aka sane people, are gonna fucking hate this.
It's not about Cinderella waiting around to be validated by a man's presence in her life.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
He just fucking said that in the original, Cinderella is waiting around to be validated by a prince. Go ahead.
No, she's not. Matt knows this just as much as I do, that because he watched it to prove a point, and that point is that she's not waiting around for the prince. She's trapped in a castle being a scullery maid, which is basically just a cleaning lady in our times, I guess. But her person, the stepmother, does not let her leave the castle. She's basically a prisoner. So when she hears the Duke bring that invitation, she gets excited and saying this is her chance to leave. Just, even if it's for a few hours, this is her chance to leave. The prince is there, great. She didn't know about that. All she was told in there is that every eligible bachelor or maiden is able to attend.
Invited, yeah.
Because they're inviting the people. And there was no mention of the prince being there at all. But yeah.
But yeah, no, there was a bunch of stupid videos being made explaining how she's only there to meet a man and to be saved by a man. But the funny thing is, even in 1950, they knew that this was not what they were trying to portray. And it was the 50s, and that was actually more normal, but they still weren't trying to portray it. And by the way, they portrayed that even less in the 2015 remake, and yet this moron is still saying that. But regardless, as far as the original is concerned, there was a video someone made proving that she's not there to meet a man to save her. And the most important scene, in my opinion, was when she gets into the ball, and the stepsisters are surrounding the prince still. You can literally see Cinderella at the very back, and all she's doing is going like this. She's walking around, looking at the ceiling, at all the lights and everything. She didn't even fucking notice the prince until did he walk up to her? I think he walked up to her, right?
Yeah.
It was something like that. He walked up to her or something. But the point is,
stairs or something.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember anymore. But she didn't go there to be saved. She didn't go there to be saved. And even when she was there, She was more interested in, like, what the palace looked like as opposed to the people there. So this fucking notion that she goes there just to be saved is so dumb. It's debunked not only in the original, but even in the remake, and people are still saying this.
Of course.
It's about her empowering herself.
It's about her empowering herself. So now we're seeing that she never empowered herself. Granted, in the original, she did not empower herself. She doesn't defend herself. She doesn't go against the stepmother. She didn't do any of that, which is fine. A lot of things in the original movie were kind of like left behind in terms of like plot. I think even you can agree with that. But let's look at the 2015 remake, because when it comes to a remake, even if you're remaking the original, the other remake can still count as part of the story or whatever, or at least as part of your opinion. In the remake, she actually does stand up to her stepmother. It was a scene up in the top of the castle when she smashed the... Remember when she smashed the slipper?
Yeah.
Cinderella stood up for herself. She actually stood up for herself.
Yeah.
So this is still fucking stupid and wrong.
Art, creativity, magic.
So, being genderless is art and creative.
Apparently.
Has no gender.
They seem to not know the difference between a piece of art that somebody drew, being a man or a woman,
Yeah.
and a literal character
Yeah.
who is a female character
Yeah.
that they're just changing.
Yeah. Although he's saying art because acting is part of the arts. But
Yeah, I know,
still.
but that's fine. A man can act and so can a woman act, but
Yeah.
you're changing a character,
Yeah,
an
exactly.
already established character. And here's the thing: I've mentioned this repeatedly when I talk about movies being remade and sequels and all this shit. I've mentioned repeatedly that if you want to create SJW characters, why can't you just create them from scratch? Why do you have to take a character that exists now and change them?
Because...
And go ahead. Do you have an answer? 'Cause I already have an answer.
No, I'm just saying because they have nothing better to do.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But in one of my older videos, I asked this question and then I answered it. The reason why they'd rather change an already existing character rather than just creating a new one is because the goal isn't just to have more LGBT in movies. The goal isn't to just have more women in movies. The goal isn't to just have more non-binary people in movies. The goal is basically to erase history. If they're able to, have the modern Star Wars or have the modern Cinderella, have the modern whatever movie they've ruined, which is most movies today. Their goal is to not just create new movies with these PC culture characters. It's to also erase history from the original characters. For example, here's the best example I have. Well, one of the best examples I have. The latest Terminator. They made the lead a female, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was no longer the lead. Now, a stupid person might say, well, they just want to change it and have something new for everyone to look at. Have a woman lead. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with having a woman lead in general. If you want to create a new fucking franchise or movie, have a woman lead. I don't give a flying fuck. I have a problem when you're only doing it to erase Arnold as the original.
Yeah.
The goal was not to just have a new female lead. The goal was to erase Arnold as the original lead. That was the goal. And that's why it's a fucking problem.
Fairy godmother, a.k.a. the Fab G. That's what we call it.
Do you think they will literally say Fab G in the movie?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Maybe have seen before.
Right.
And how
And who wants to see what we've seen before? We've already seen that. That's the whole point.
That is the whole fucking point. I agree, but you're missing your own fucking point.
Yeah.
If you don't want us to see what we've already seen before, then make a new fucking movie!
Exactly.
You're not making a new movie, you're changing something that already has been made.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what kind of logic is that? We want to make something different. So take an idea that's already been done and change it slightly. Is that logical?
No.
If you want to make something new and different, you don't just take an idea that's already been fucking done.
Exactly.
Because okay, let's look at it outside of never mind SJWs. Let's just talk about it like on the face of it. You've changed one thing. One thing. As far as we know, she's still going to be a female Cinderella with hopefully a blue dress who's stuck in a fucking castle with an evil stepmother and 2 evil stepsisters. She's still going to go to the ball and meet the prince. All you've changed, apparently, is the godmother being genderless. You're telling me that this is a new thing because you changed one fucking aspect. Here's a newsflash of something fucking crazy for Hollywood. You could have everything new if you made a movie with an original idea from scratch. I know, it's a fucking wild idea, but you could do that.
We teach people as individuals how to treat us and how to love us. If we don't...
And the PC culture is trying to force their beliefs on us, which is very respectful in your world, apparently.
love ourselves, nobody knows how to do it. It wasn't until I found the courage to really love myself and treat myself in the way that I knew I should be, that the rest of the world then followed.
Love yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And while you love yourself, change yourself. Make yourself trans, make yourself non-binary, make yourself genderless, make yourself the opposite gender. But love yourself. Love yourself for who you are, but change yourself.
Yeah.
You have to live long enough to understand it.
What? Okay, hang on a second. How many contradictions did he just make? So first of all, you have to live long enough, he just said. Here are the...
For what?
To understand this stuff.
Okay.
Here's the problems with what he just said. Number one, he's the one who said that adults are slowing it down, but that you have to be an adult to understand it. Fuck off. Yeah. Two, all of this non-binary stuff and SJW shit was only created 5 years ago, and it was created by university students, primarily in California, who are all of a millennial age or younger, not adults. Yep. Okay? Like, this is so goddamn stupid. It's almost like he's patronizing the older people who disagree by saying you have to be older, and saying that if you are older but don't get it, you're basically immature, is how it comes across. Where no, people are not immature for disagreeing with this. People are just smart, and you're not. That's all. Okay, so I've had just about enough of this. There's not much more to respond to in this interview. Steph, just overall, what do you think this movie's going to be like?
I mean, I'm going to watch it anyways, just because it is a Cinderella adaptation, and I've always watched them, but I don't think this one's going to be good at all. And that's coming from someone who loves Cinderella as a whole, loves everything about Cinderella, loves her dress, just everything.
She has a blue dress. Two, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think the rating's going to be?
I don't know, but I don't think it'll be good.
You know that you realize they're gonna actually ruin the original, right?
No, they're not gonna touch the original because I'll kill them.
No, but they'll ruin it. People are gonna look at it differently because of this piece of shit.
Yeah, well, people are already looking at the original differently because of the prince and all that shit.
Yeah.
So whatever, I just deal with it, and I still love the original, and whoever doesn't can basically go to hell.
Yeah, it is stupid. Even before this, people were saying it's sexist. It's not fucking sexist.
Yeah. Like, I work at a movie theater, and I have no problem putting Cinderella as my favorite movie on my tag. People have come up to me, they're like... Some people are idiots, and they just come up to me, and they're like, oh, your name is Cinderella, that's great, I've never heard that. I'm like... And then they see my name above the movie. And some people actually realize it's a favorite movie, and they ask me... Because it doesn't say 1950 or 2015, it just says Cinderella, so some people will ask me... They'll be original or remake, and I'm like, I like them both, but original definitely. The original's my favorite, so...
Yeah, the original's a classic, and they're going to destroy it, because... Yeah. But then again, they destroyed everything else. They're going to destroy Little Mermaid very soon, by making her black, and I'm actually... What?
I'm just saying, Little Mermaid, like, the remakes you can't really look at as the new, because... They are going to be new, but you have to compare them as, like... You can't compare them to each other.
Why?
Because, like you said, if you do that, they're going to ruin the original.
Well,
whereas, if you just look at it, oh, this is a remake of The Little Mermaid, but it's not the original.
Well, yeah, but people are going to compare it, though.
I know, but I'm saying you shouldn't do that, because then you're gonna ruin everything for you, and you don't want that to happen. So
I
just
think
look at it as watching a movie, and that's it.
I think what you're trying to say is just don't focus on the original when you watch these pieces of crap. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
not
basically.
Not compare, because
Yeah.
the whole reason they exist is because they're remaking what already exists. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a comparison.
Yeah.
And they're going to change things that were in those originals. Like, I actually wonder what they're going to do with Little Mermaid, because the entire base of it is her giving up her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very sexist today.
Yeah, well.
So I wonder what they're going to do. Like, it'll probably be... Let's make a prediction. They're probably going to have it where the guy sees her in the water and he's chasing her, and then he makes a deal with King Triton to give up...
Triton's good, though.
Okay, but he makes a deal with Triton to give up his voice for her so that he can be given the ability to swim down with her. That's what I think they're going to do.
Triton wouldn't do that, though. Triton's good. That seems like a terrible thing.
Yeah, but they'll change him. Or Ursula will be a man.
Well, Ursula already depicts a drag queen in the original, anyways.
Oh, she actually does. That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
she's gonna look horrible in the remake. Oh my god, I'm afraid. But it'll probably be a drag king, to be honest. It'll probably be a drag king in the remake, because they don't want to because we can't portray an evil woman, because that's sexist.
Oh god.
Anyway, fuck this movie and fuck this genderless
Yep.
godmother.